from the Ticats Audio Network. This is Ticats Today with Louie Butko.
Yes, it is Ticats Today for a Tuesday, August the 30th, 2022. Thanks for checking us out on the Ticats Audio Network. Louie Butko here with you as the Ticats still away from the practice field. Yes, they will return tomorrow for a day zero, is what they call it, because, just explaining the CFL calendar for you, a weekly calendar for the Ticats, walkthrough is the day before the game. Before walkthrough, you have day 3, and working backwards, you got day 2 and day 1. Because it's Monday, everything's kind of pushed back. So Wednesday is actually day 0, Thursday is day 1, Friday is day 2, and now you get it. That's how the Ticats practice schedule works. You can check it out for yourself anytime, ticats.ca/practice-schedule, because practices are open to the public. You're more than welcome to come down and check out what the Ticats are up to. No photography before or during practice. Also, no autographs before or during practice. But come on down. Maybe a nice way to finish off the summer by checking out the Ticats ahead of next week's Labor Day Classic, because you know it's going to be a big week of practice because the Ticats Argos Monday. Are you going? Ticats.ca is where you can get your tickets for that one. And you can also check out Tim Hicks at the halftime show. Very exciting stuff announced yesterday, as the Ticats announced that Tim Hicks coming to town, and we'll be playing the WeatherTech halftime show at the Labor Day Classic. So even more of a reason to get your tickets for the Labor Day Classic. And fans, before you head out to the Labor Day game, help the Pure Later Tackle Hunger Initiative. Please bring a non-perishable food item to the game to support Hamilton Food Share and help us tackle hunger in Hamilton. Mentioned the Ticats not practicing today, tomorrow. I know I went through that, but that means no sound to bring you from practice because there was no practice. But we will be back at Tim Hortons Field tomorrow, right through the week, bringing you everything you need to know about Monday's game. Coming up later this week as well, a brand new Speaking with the Enemy. I'll track down Mike Hogan, play-by-play voice of the Argos, where I'm sure he will take a couple of cheap shots, but, I mean, the Argos have won 2 of the 3 games. Ticats need to win, if not for any other reason that I can chirp back Mike Hogan the next time I have him on Speaking with the Enemy. Again, that's dropping later this week on the Ticats Audio Network. Also, new episodes of the Coach O Show, a new episode of the CFL this week. So lots happening this week, building up to Monday's game. All right, very pleased now to be joined by Ticats Director of Community Partnerships. He's also a Ticats Audio Network analyst and a former Ticat himself, Courtney Steven. And Court, the question I have been asked more this week than any other week, I think, is what's going on with these Tiger Cats?
Man, it's tough sledding right now for the Ticats. They just can't seem to find a way to finish. They've had spots of greatness. They've shown some explosive plays. They've shown grit. They've shown fight, but they haven't shown up in the win column. And whether it's, the turnovers, which has been one of the glaring differences in most of these games, or if it's just the overall theme of not being able to put together the second half consistently, it's one thing or the other these days. So it's been tough for the Ticats, but you know what? The sun comes up again and Labor Day is right around the corner.
A huge game in less than a week now, a Labor Day Classic. And I love how the fact it's an afternoon game, and we'll get to all that in a bit, but let's go back to Friday night. I mean, turnovers. It's going to be the word of the day until it's not for this team. How do you solve it?
Well, it's just something that you got to pay attention to, and not to say that they haven't been, but I mean, nothing changes overnight. Obviously, football is a game where these guys have been playing for, 10, 15 years of their life at least, if not longer. So they've been practicing the skills, but you just have to draw attention to the details, the finer things. And that's definitely what they'll be doing in this week of prep, and continuing to work on either the ball security or the decision making, or just getting on the same page. Because sometimes what can appear as just an errant throw might be, a bad route that us, the fans sitting in the stands, will never know about. But those are the things that are communicated in the meetings. And I think, sometimes it's easy to point the finger at what has happened, but you don't see the things that have not happened. Meaning, maybe there was interceptions that were left out on the field that the defense could have made. Maybe there was opportunities to turn the ball over. Maybe there was missed tackles that led to explosive plays. So there's things all over the place where the team will be looking to improve. And that's exactly what you got to do at this point in the season. Every game is getting more important. Every play is thus more important. And so you got to find those slight edges somewhere.
We were talking about this with Luke yesterday. 2017, we don't need to go down the road of that season, but 0-8, there were changes and there was still a belief in that room until it was mathematically impossible that you guys were going to make the playoffs in that season. What keeps you motivated when the record isn't what it is, but it just doesn't seem to be there?
Well, I'll tell you this, Louie, you don't get to be in that room by luck. Every single one of these guys has earned their way through countless different flavors of adversity. To be a part of the 1% of the 1% that gets to call himself a professional athlete, you have to endure many things. So most guys are going to be what they call a self-starter. You don't need somebody to slap you in the face in the morning and give you a pep talk. You show up because it's your job to show up. And so I think for that reason, they've put the right guys in the room from a character standpoint. It's just about, having that gel and having that timing and getting those bounces the right way. There's sometimes, fatal mistakes that happen in a game, but very often a player is going to fight to the end because that's all they know how to do. They're built for this. This is what they're born to do. This is what they love to do. And it's not what you have to do, but it's what you get to do on game day. So when you approach it with that mindset, how could you not go down swinging?
I thought I was listening to Coach O there for a second. You don't have to, you get to. Another point brought up in yesterday's show by RJ, he said, well, look at the defense. Who's the leader on defense? You have to look at a guy like Simone Lawrence. Obviously, Dylan Wynn is a huge part of that, but Sim, injured. Offense, Chris Van Zyl, Braylon Addison. The quarterbacks have been trading injuries back and forth, it seems. Special teams, Curtis Newton, big name going down. How big of a factor? I don't want to say how big of a factor are these injuries because we know this team is the next man up mentality, the waiting room for a reason. But I mean, those are huge impact injuries that seem to be hurting the Ticats more than we thought they would.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way around it. Guys who are contributors are not in a position where they're physically able to contribute. Even a guy like Lawrence Woods III, who's a new face, he's somebody who's not able to contribute in the way he did. But I think he's a great example of how there's another star player right around the corner. And so with the case being what it is, it's just an opportunity for somebody else to come up, put their name in lights and start selling some jerseys. I think if you're anybody else on this team, like a Kyle Wilson who stepped in, and I think he's done a great job, these are the opportunities that you have to relish, right? So whether you're the new defensive back who comes in and Randall shows us that he's got hands and he gets a pick in the first quarter of his Ticat debut, or if you're the third string quarterback who is looking at being the first string quarterback, potentially, you just have to look at these things and embrace them, because no matter what you do, the situation is a situation. And the only thing you can control is your attitude and your approach. So you got to go into this thing with the confidence of somebody who's prepared, because you can control your preparation, you can control your attitude, and you get another chance on Labor Day on the 5th to go out and fight.
Let's talk about this one because, the Ticats are extra motivated. It's going to be a great crowd. Tim Hicks is playing at the half. I'm sure you had a big part in getting Tim Hicks down there for the halftime show.
Yeah, he's my favorite.
He's good St. Catherine's boy too, so we like that. We like that about Tim Hicks. But Labor Day, it's going to be a huge game. How do the Ticats? I mean, how important is that first quarter to get the crowd? You haven't been playing well. We haven't been closing games out well, I should say. How important is that first 15 minutes? I know Coach won't say it, but how important is it, that first quarter?
I think it's important in just getting the momentum, but more so than that, I think it's just going out there and putting up points, right? And putting up 7 points, not necessarily on the first drive, but showing the other team that, look, we're not coming out here to try and do gimmicks and all kinds of fancy stuff. No, we're just going to get the ball and we're going to march down the field and we're going to score. And to follow up one successful drive with another, because anybody can be lucky once, but it takes skill to be good all the time. And I think that's what the Ticats got to show, that they're going to stress the defense down the field, force them to defend the deep ball. establish the run and be dedicated to it, and not always put the ball laterally and give the defense times to flow, because we've been seeing a lot of side to side, east to west football, and then they're having trouble getting down the field and moving the chains. I think defenses love that kind of stuff, because if you're athletic, you can make time up to those plays that are going east to west. So come down, threaten the defense, make them get back on their heels a little bit, and that will open up a little bit more options for the offense.
What's being said when they hit the practice field for the first time tomorrow? What do you think the messaging is going to be?
Controllable factors. Go out there and get better. And if you're your best self, you got your best shot.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll ask Coach what the messaging was tomorrow. I'm sure he won't tell me, but I'll try and get it out of him. Court, always appreciate this, my friend. Thank you thanks for connecting. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
And that is Courtney Stephen, Director of Community Partnerships for the Hamilton Ticats, former Ticat himself, and now an analyst here on the Ticats Audio Network. You can catch him and Mike Daly every game day on, get this, Tiger Cats Game Day. It's the pre-game show on the Ticats Audio Network, and you catch a brand new episode of that dropping on Monday. You catch a brand new episode of the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker dropping today, if it hasn't already. Depending on when you're listening to this, it's probably already there. But if not, here is just a sneak peek of what Luke and Coach O are discussing today.
Anytime something doesn't go, the way that I envisioned it, whether I was a player or not, the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at myself. Was I prepared enough for the situation? And what can I do different? And football is such a team sport, but it's a bunch of individuals making up that team. So, I think the first of all, you've heard me say this many times, that the perfect game has never been played and the perfect game has never been coached. So you can strive for it, but it's not going to happen. None of us ever got a grade sheet back in a football game and it was 100%. And that's the same for coaching. And so within that, you've heard me say this many times, or equally as many times, that it is a game of mistakes. Let's be the team that makes the least amount, and let's not make them repeated. Now, sometimes the challenge with that, Luke, is that you have injuries. And so, just use, player X jumps offside on offense, defense, or special teams. And then you plug somebody else in there and they jump offside. Well, it's the same penalty, but it's a different person. And, maybe it's a drop here or there, whether it's an interception or a reception. Maybe it's a missed throw. And it's just, you're not going to have a quarterback that goes 40 for 40. You're not going to have a running back that gains positive yards on every play. And so it does come down to execution, because that's really what wins. Plays don't win, players win. And, some calls are better than other calls, but not every call is a great call. And some things that look like great calls are because players make great plays. And that's the game of football.
And that is a clip from the brand new episode of the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker, which you can find now on the Ticats Audio Network. The Labor Day Classic 50-50 jackpot is a guaranteed $50,000. Be sure to get your tickets early for a chance at $50K and the early bird draw for $1,000 this Friday at 8 p.m. Visit Ticats5050.com. Brought to you by the Hamilton Bulldogs Foundation. License number RAF 1235466. All right, that'll do it for us today. We are back tomorrow, right here, same time, same place. Ticats back in practice, so we'll be from Tim Hortons Field. I hope you join us then. From all of us here at the Ticats Audio Network, I'm Louie Butko. Hoping you have a great day.
Monday, Tim Hortons Field. WeatherTech is pleased to present Tim Hicks. This year's Labor Day Classic will feature a special halftime concert performance featuring award-winning country artist Tim Hicks. Presented by WeatherTech, Tim Hicks.